Welcome to the Team 7 podcast. My name is Logan, your host, and I am joined by two special guests, Asher and Zach. They are not going to be here, but every single week. So this week is our 11th episode. We're going through episodes 66 through 72, which is, a lot of build-ups. They've been hinting at it since the preliminary, since the Stage 2, really, that something is going on in the background. I think we saw that come to fruition to at least some extent. Obviously, we're still in it, but before we get there, we got to see Sasuke and Gaara. What did y'all think? Were you guys where were y'all's minds at this point early in the batch?
You're wilding out right now. I want to call you out. You're crazy.
What?
You're crazy, man.
For my intro?
Yeah. No, I love it.
I was hoping.
I love the energy. I kind of felt like these weren't gonna go as long as they did, but I enjoyed Gaara just going full on schizophrenic. I wanted to figure out what was happening. I'm obsessed with Gaara. That's how I felt watching these.
I literally made a note that said he's off his rocker. Because it was just insanity. He was talking to himself. He's talking to his mom. The whole battle between the two of them, pretty lackluster. But towards the end, it kind of, I was distracted enough to not be upset by it. The battle never finished, but I have a feeling we're going to see more of that soon, because they're still building up. But yeah, overall, it was definitely satisfying to get an answer to what this big giant plan is.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think that the fight between Gaara and Sasuke is very lackluster. Gaara is it's a ton of build up for it and everything else that's going on as well, but Gaara's at his breaking point, ready to. He just absolutely slaughtered those guys in the hallway on his way down, and then here comes Sasuke, who he that. I think somebody even said it, the only one who can make Gaara feel anything at this point is Sasuke in his mind, because it's nobody else is good enough. So I don't know. Chidori was still really cool to see for the first time out of Sasuke. Did that shock you guys at all? Did you guys?
The only thing that shocked me about it, there was a few things that shocked me about it. He totally cleared the wall. He was literally almost to the brim of the arena.
Yeah, that was wild.
By jumping, and I'm like, dude's got some hops. No, it didn't, because I knew they were training for something. I knew they were gonna have something up his sleeves, pun intended. But what did shock me was the name of it, through Guy's exposition of why it's called what it is. 1,000 birds.
Yeah.
Or lightning blade was. It was super cool to see, but it did sound like birds, so it made sense.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting to hear where it got its name. And I'd forgotten that it was called Lightning Blade. I always thought growing up it was called Lightning Blade because it was lightning and as strong as a blade, but it was actually because it was used to cut lightning. So it was a blade for cutting lightning that I guess was also lightning.
And then it cuts to Ino. It's these old men and their war stories.
Yeah. And I loved whenever she was oh no, Sakura's gonna be really mad. And then she's like, no, it's fine. And then she does that very anime-esque, it's a drum hits, and then their face, what I'm talking about? Their faces or their eyes are circles, and they're shocked is what I'm talking about.
It goes
it's
more
a Japanese.
cartoony.
Yeah. More comic.
It's a Japanese soliloquy.
Yeah, that. Um. So yeah, the what?
I don't know. The word soliloquy got me the giggles for some reason.
I got
Hey,
you. So their fight gets interrupted. I'm blanking on how that happened. Actually, like I think, like how did the fight break out? I'm
Well,
so blanking.
weren't they kind of still going, and then all this stuff in the stands was
Yes,
happening
they were
where
putting
they're
him to sleep.
falling asleep.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly it. So Kabuto puts him to sleep, or I guess he gets Kiba first.
I got a
Um
question about that before we move on
yeah.
because I made a note and I was wondering if it ever get brought up. So Kabuto knocks out Kiba because Kiba kind of, well, Akamaru, or is it Akamaru?
Akamaru.
Akamaru.
Akamaru
I
is
think it's
suspicious.
Ochimaru.
It's Akamaru. Um, no, so Akamaru is suspicious of Kabuto, and Kiba's like, "What? You know this guy? There's no way." And he knocks out Kiba, but Akamaru gets knocked out too. I'm confused on why they both would get knocked out by one attack.
Yeah,
One attack.
I was
I
assuming
noticed
that.
that too.
I mean, they're just so connected in a way that's deeper than just being buddies and physically close to each other. There's got to be some kind of like deeper spiritual connection or something. I don't know.
Well, so I think you just are led to believe that he like does it to both of them. And
Okay.
I mean you have to remember this is like happening in a like manga panel and then turned to anime. So like they dropped the ball here and not animating him like hitting both of them. But like they may have not been given like the source material, like anything besides like, and I don't have I guess I could look it up on my phone, but I don't have the copy for that part of the story yet. So I don't know what they saw, but that's a possibility that they just like pulled from the manga and he doesn't really have emotion that like hits both of them. So they just didn't make a extra one. And you're just kind of
Yeah,
like
I
led to
gotcha.
believe that he got both of them. Um, so because I don't think it has to be like super deep of a reason, especially with like something that is pretty insignificant in this part of the story. Like he gets knocked out and but like we don't really see anything else from him for a minute. So um what?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's true. I was looking through some notes for 66 and 67, and the part of the battle that I did like was seeing the demons start to come out. That whole they're seeing the arm come out and the perfect possession. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that has to do with the sort of, it sounds like he's doing some kind of incantation like early in episode 67 that somebody else does later, and I can't remember who. Maybe it was the third. Was
It
it
was
the
the
third
third.
Hokage? Yeah,
Yeah, it's in 72, I believe, our
that's
last
right.
episode.
That's really interesting to me. I want to know more about that, and even just the individual words that like Gara is saying there. But I'm assuming it's just a summoning type thing for whatever that, I forgot what the demon's name is, but I did think that part was pretty cool. But yeah, the rest of the battle is kind of boring, and then everybody falls asleep except Guy and Kakashi and Sakura, right?
And
And
Shikamaru.
Shikamaru.
Oh, Shikamaru,
Yeah.
that's right.
I love that he just was like, well, I'm just gonna lay down. Like I'm not gonna get involved.
I want to get Zach's take on that. Like, we know now that it's pretty typical Shikamaru to just be like, well, if everyone's out, if everyone else is like out of commission, I'm just going to pretend I am too, because I obviously don't want to do anything. But he just keeps
No,
getting dragged back into battle, I guess.
yeah, I think the funniest thing about it is he just says what's on his mind, and he's like, "I literally could care less about Sasuke."
Yeah.
And
I do
I
like
was
that
like,
part.
I respect that. Like, he wasn't stupid enough to be hit by a genjutsu. He released it like Sakura did. Naruto was straight snoozing, but Shikamaru, I don't know. I thought I respected it because, like, yeah, it's not the most noble thing to do, but hey, at least he's like tactical enough to like understand what's happening and aware of his surroundings. But he just did it for himself. So
Well, that kind of goes along with him being a good strategist. I feel like he has some survival instincts, which is probably a good thing. If he's ever, and I'm just imagining far into the future, if he's kind of leading, excuse me, other people at all, having a good survival instinct is probably going to be a good thing. And out here in the real world, a lot of times laziness is akin to efficiency, and I see him as a very like efficient person, to his detriment maybe, but he's like, I'm not going to use a whole lot of energy here. I'm not going to put a whole lot of anything into this, but I don't know. That's all I got on Shikamaru.
Yeah.
I enjoy him.
Let's see. Oh, I did want to bring up because we're about there anyways, and we can skip ahead for this part as well. You had texted Asher and let us know that you hated, I forget your exact words, but it was something along the lines of hated and absolutely hated something from 69 and 72.
Let me pull it up. I'm gonna find the text because I remember texting something like that, but I cannot remember what it was. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, there are two
um,
things that I absolutely can't stand about 66 to 72. Other than that, who boy is it good?
oh, I don't know where I thought 69, 70. Never mind. Go ahead.
I think I was just kind of thinking through like all of the episodes. Now I need to look and remember. Because, see, here's the good thing. And just to go back to like a 30,000-foot level of Naruto, obviously these things did not take away from my overall experience. Because, like, I can't even find them right now. Like, I feel so dumb that I texted that to you, and now I can't really find it. I think as we keep talking, I'll probably see it in my notes, and I'll just bring it up as we
That's
go.
fine.
But I don't think it's anything like up to this point, if that makes sense, like up to episode 68.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, at this point, everybody's asleep. Naruto's woken up. Naruto, Sakura are sent after Sasuke, who's gone after Gaara, who we didn't bring this up either. Kankuro and Tamari come in, take Gaara because he's like on a mental break, and because he's on a mental break and didn't achieve the perfect possession, which we'll get more like explanation on what that is. I don't really want to tell you guys quite yet.
Sure.
So because he didn't get that, they're retreating, I assume, to the Land of Wind, where the hidden sand village is. But I believe that is correct. But they're going through the forest. Sasuke goes after them, and then Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sakura go after them. And then they're being chased. I'm trying to get to the Asuma scene is what I'm trying to do. So
Right.
then they're being chased, and then Shikamaru decides to stay back. That ambush scene, did you guys like I I just remember watching this as a kid and being like, at this point, I'm coming off of Shikamaru with whoever he fights in the preliminary. It's that girl, isn't it? Who does he fight in the I believe I cannot remember.
Oh, he
Who does
fought
he fight?
one of the Sound Ninja,
Isn't
right?
that isn't it that girl? Or is it the guy? I can't remember. But he fights somebody from the Sound Village, you're right. And then Tamari in the final round,
Right.
and then this, and I was like, he's my favorite. Like this is not unmatched. He's so cool. I thought he was the coolest.
Asuma?
No, Shikamaru. Like just his
Gotcha.
planning. I loved that it was always like break your neck. Like you think I'm going this way, but I'm not.
Mm. Yeah, I like that too. I'm still just a huge Shikamaru fan.
Hmm.
It's a lot of relatability for me, I think. But I also one thing I really did like is that the dog that Kakashi sends with them, there's a very anime moment where he bites Shikamaru, and that just cracked me up. Anytime stuff like that happens, I just love it.
And I love that he says, I'll let you touch my paw. Like he's gonna reward him with that. That's one of my favorite parts.
See,
I think
and
Haku,
my
man.
favorite
that would be a reward for me. I would love to touch a sweet, soft puppy paw. That's all I want
Yes.
in life.
mm, my favorite Paku moment was when he smells Sakura and says, "I think we use the same shampoo." And she said, "I smell like a dog. I
I
smell like a dog."
love it.
And like hops away.
I
Just
love the animation of that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it
Like
was great.
just black and white, just
she just floats
floating.
away.
And the okay, when they're deciding who's going to stay for the ambush, and then Shikamaru says whoever stays is most likely going to die, and then they all land on these three different branches facing away from each other. It was so dramatic. Even now, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like they're being chased. Like you don't have time to sit to stop and like be dramatic about it, but that's just my suspension of disbelief going away for a little bit.
I think
Every
it
time I watch that part, I think the
I
same
think
thing.
it lends to the fact that they're kids still though, because Tamari and Kankuro had a similar encounter where they're like also gonna have to break away and one of them's gonna have to continue to take Gara. And Tamari's like, listen, our job is to protect Gara, get him back to his, state where he can help and be that trump card we need. And Kankuro, understands it. They're a little older, but when they hear the words die, they're like, "Oh, no. I didn't
Yeah,
think about that." And I agree. It's like, well, that doesn't mean stop, but I don't think I would have kept going if I knew I was potentially gonna die.
yeah. No, that's a good point. Um, so Shikamaru does stay behind. He gets the ambush. The ninth person is there, and then Asuma shows up at some point in between the time that he throws the kunai and then whenever they call for him to come out. But um Shikamaru was so I thought about this whenever I rewatched it because it we had to take a week in between. So I'd like forgotten what happened, but I was rewatching this episode actually today, and Shikamaru is like so in awe of Asuma, and it for whatever reason just made me think like I wonder if this is the first time that Asuma like because it was really unusual for Naruto's team to be in dangerous situations like they found themselves, main character stuff. So it makes sense. But like, I wonder if this is the first time that Shikamaru has seen Asuma just like go all out in a fight. Because I
Mm.
mean, he buried those like bladed brass knuckles in that guy's face, and they don't like show it in great detail. But like, like that guy's dead. Like, there's no way he's not.
He got
He
messed
killed
up.
all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not just like a quick, painless death. That would have hurt. That would have really freaking hurt. Yeah.
yeah. Those things do not look fun to deal with at all. Because you can't block his punch. Like you have to dodge it.
Yeah.
Getting hit with that is, and he like you'll find this out later, and it's not a huge plot point, but like he fuses chakra into them, so like they hurt even worse
Oh,
than a normal blade.
woof.
Yeah, but yeah, you had alluded to it, Zach. Sasuke catches up to Tamari because he was about to catch up to all three of them, and Tamari stays behind to fight him. Knowing the future of the show, like Sasuke leaving her is wild. It's not a huge deal, but like it is just crazy to me that he's like, I don't have time for you. I gotta go. And like he had every chance to just like finish her off. But I feel like we don't really see that a lot.
Mm.
Of just like brutally like I've got you defenseless. I'm gonna finish it and keep going, which is you would think that that would be like a little bit more like ninja-esque with quotations around that for the people not watching.
Do you mean it would be more likely that he would go ahead and like kill her or
Yeah, I would think it would. I
incapacitate her?
I think so. I think it would be like my like made up perception
Yeah.
would be like a ruthless like you stayed to fight me. I'm not gonna like let you catch up to me. I'm gonna finish you off like immediately and then keep going on my pursuit. Instead
See,
of just being like,
I
I gotta go.
I think that's something that maybe
And
like
it could also be like what Zach said with them being kids. Sorry.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like with them being younger, I could see that being part of it. I could see him being on Naruto's team and Naruto rubbing off on him a little bit. And I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of see like what you're saying would be the more likely scenario is almost more of a Zabuza kind of thing to do
Yeah.
rather than these people in the Leaf Village who are maybe a little more, I don't know if it's kind or it's caring or just more valuing of human life. I don't know if that's even a word, but
Innocent.
yeah, it really is like an innocent quality to it. Like that's just not on his mind to try and kill her rather than leave her incapacitated and like let's move on.
Yeah.
Even if
I
that
get that.
means I might have to deal with you in the future or something.
Yeah.
I go back and forth on the age debate on this because I sat with that for a little bit because there's a few themes of like ending someone for good versus like the chance of maybe they can like stop.
Hmm.
Like the third Hokage a few times, even whenever the Kazekage at the time um was starting this attack, he says, there's still time. You don't have to instead of like just I mean, the guy was just chilling. He could have easily like stopped him before anything happened. But, even the third Hokage was like, hopefully talking might be able to help.
Mm.
And I see, he's young. He's probably never killed anybody yet. I don't know his whole story. We might find a back detail, but I'm leaning on maybe not.
You mean Sasuke?
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going back to Sasuke now. But I don't know. I think what you said, Asher. I just don't think that death was like necessarily like the tactic he was inclined to go for. But
Yeah, and I think the people in the Sand Village, it's more likely just because of even what we've seen so far, it seems a little more maybe militaristic, maybe violent, just more prone to like I think Sand Village gives me the impression that they feel like they're perceived as lesser than, and the way to push out of that is possibly murder, possibly like taking over other
But mean tough.
village. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At the root of it, just being tougher than everybody else. Yeah, that's
I
great.
mean, it does. I mean, it's the culture of the leader too. Like when you think about it, like death comes naturally to this other clan because their leader is Orochimaru at the end of the day, and the leader of the peaceful side is the third Hokage, who's still, we find out in his battle later, and we'll dive into that more, but he didn't even want to kill Orochimaru whenever he had the chance the first time. And
I don't think he does now either.
no, I don't think he wants to, but I think
Yeah.
he doesn't have a choice at this point.
Yeah, true.
Are you talking about Orochi or the third Hokage not wanting to kill Orochimaru?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
because they
Oh, I
flash
think
back and talk about that when he's like, they finally catch up to him. He's like, I set enough booby traps and all that stuff, and I didn't think it would be the you that would find me. And then Enma, we haven't even talked about Enma yet. The monkey that the third Hokage, also known as Sartobi. It's cool to get that name. Um, yeah, he's like, why didn't you kill him the first time? What are we doing in this mess? As it's like his initial reaction after he summons him, after the third Hokage summons Enma. He's like, why are we still dealing with this guy? You had a chance to kill him. Why didn't you? And I just don't think it's in his nature to be like, yeah, death is an option. It's always everything else before that. And I think that translates to his entire village.
Yeah. Well, one of the last notes I made for the whole series of episodes we watched for today is that the Leaf is more than an organization to what is his name? Saratobi?
So the third Hokage's last name is Sarutobi. His first name
Oh.
and the other Hokage that he's fighting with call him this, but they don't. I mean, you just have to be listening to catch it. But it's Hiruzen is his first name, but he's
Oh.
almost never like that's only a name basically used by like equals. And since he's Hokage, only other Hokage would call him Hiruzen.
Yeah, like nobody else would say that.
So they and only the only reason that he's called Sarutobi Sensei is from people that know him prior to being a Hokage, like Orochimaru, who his like to him that's still Sarutobi Sensei because that was his sensei growing up.
Mm,
But Lord Third or Third Hokage is like what the people of the village would know him by.
yeah.
But
Or
it is cool to
Supreme
learn his name.
Shinobi.
Yes. So you were saying something, Asher, and then
No,
I
I
went
was
off
just
on that.
saying that to Zach's point with the whole Leaf Village, and how the third Hokage like perceives his kind of dominion there. It's not a dominion of like I'm a dictator and I've got to show our force or show our toughness, like you're saying, but it's like it's family um, more than anything else. It's not. He doesn't see people as pawns the way that I would say Orochimaru does, or even Gara does. I think a lot of the Sand Village people are maybe like teetering on the edge where Gara is like really far gone. Like people are objects to him, I would say. Maybe other than his mom from what we've seen when he was in, encapsulated in sand or whatever. But I think, Tamari and Kankuro, I kind of see them as maybe being in the middle. Like they know they have a mission to do, but maybe there's this humanity in them that's going to be like tapped into. I could see someone like Naruto like drawing that out of a lot of people in the future. So
Yeah, for sure. Um, and they're still in pursuit, so I guess they'll catch up to Tamari soon, if they come across her path. But let's see. There was something else I was going to bring up, and I can't remember what it was now.
was it Monkey King Inma? I put that I didn't realize there would be so many animal summons. Like, just so you all know, there was nothing when we started the first season of Naruto that made me think that there would be anything to do with animals in this. So it's kind of surprising anytime that happens. So it was just, I mean, it's happened enough now where I'm like, okay, it makes sense, but it was still just like, who is who is this? What is
Mm,
happening right now? Like that's kind of my reaction to Inma so far.
yeah, that's the kind of that like world just continues to get like expanded
Okay.
as the story goes
That's
on.
good to know.
So yeah, we're gonna get more and more of that. It feels so like natural to me. That's really interesting to hear that
Yeah.
it like still surprises you. Um, because it is like with Orochimaru using snakes, and then obviously we saw Gamabunta, and then Pakun, and all the other dogs that we saw briefly in season 1 of
Mhm.
Kakashi. Um, trying to think of other animal summons that we've seen so far. I mean, there's the fox, but he's not being summoned. That's just inside Naruto.
Yeah,
We've
true.
seen him once.
Also, anytime someone's like biting their thumb, I do feel like they're going to turn into a titan. I think one of you all mentioned that last time we were talking through
That's funny.
episodes.
That must have been Zach. It surprises me that it's always depicted, and same with Attack on Titan. Like, if I go to bite my thumb, like, gosh, I would have to bite so hard
So hard.
to draw blood. And they're like, they put it up to their mouth, draw blood immediately, like they don't care. And then what do they got? Needles in their teeth that they can just like get a little prick?
Y'all have some tough thumbs.
Can you do it right now and demonstrate for us how soft and supple your thumb is? If you really did right now, what's happening?
Oh
What
my
is this?
God.
Wait, what?
This is a great plug. You got to talk for the camera. No, the camera has to switch to you.
Oh, sorry. Where's my frog?
You have to
Yeah,
sign
do
a
like,
seal first.
Yeah. Signed, sealed, delivered is what they call it, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
You can go to the YouTube channel. He's got a scroll. You have to talk again.
I have a scroll of paper towels.
Did you prepare this?
No, I didn't. You always have to have some paper towels in your office, right? Like for various messes.
Look, it doesn't matter to me either way. If you prepared it, if you prepared it, like I'm so proud of you and happy to know you. But if you didn't, same. You know?
What do you mean?
Like I'm still so proud of you and happy to know you. If you just like came up with that.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm just more impressed about the
blood.
The blood. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not the blood, but the fact that he was able to bite his thumb so easily.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all need to get some t-shirts that say Tough Thumb Crew or something like that. Like
I couldn't imagine biting through my thumb.
No.
Do you guys sharpen your teeth?
Oh yeah, every day. I like file them with a metal file.
Carbon is typically the best. That's what I use. I go to Vampire Con though.
Oh, dude, I've never done that. That's sick. What kind of vampire though? Like bat to human or like sparkly in the sun?
Are you an energy vampire?
Nothing. Yeah, it's more
Have you watched What We Do in the Shadows? Oh man, it's great.
I don't know. I've never even seen anything from Stephanie Myers.
You've never even watched Twilight? Like,
oh, is that
I'm
Twilight?
surprised your wife doesn't. I'm surprised you've not watched it with her.
I watched a little bit of True Blood, but it got really weird really quick, and I stopped.
It was very sexual, and I did like that, but
I've honestly
stopped watching for other reasons.
I've honestly watched so little vampire stuff that I don't know why I brought up vampires.
Yeah.
I just sharpened my teeth, I guess, and
are vampires sharpening their teeth? I just thought they had the two fangs. That's another thing. I just realized that? Why are we talking about this? But why are the vampires in Twilight? Why do they not have sharp teeth?
I think the reason I'm thinking vampires sharpening their teeth is because I have two little boys that are just full of it all. And Hotel Transylvania is one of their favorite movies. And in one scene, like I'm gonna be late for my tooth sharpening appointment. So
that could be just a more like cartoony take on vampires, but I don't know. But back to Twilight, if they don't have like sharper teeth, what an awful way to like get your blood drawn by a vampire with dull teeth.
Oh, dude, just like absolutely, you don't bite at that, but it's like tear. Like, way worse. Way worse. It can save from experience. um.
So
Okay,
Anbu
so
Black
back to
Ops.
Naruto. Anbu Black Ops. You want to talk about the Anbu Black
I
Ops?
don't really. That was just the first word I saw in my notes over here.
Let's
Monkey King
refer to your
Inma.
notes. What's next? Inma?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
Inma
The pole
helps
monkey.
clear you out. Inma.
Pole monkey?
I said pole
Why do you
monkey
call him a pole monkey?
because he transformed into that pole.
Wow.
What? What do you mean? Wow.
This is so weird. The animals in this are so strange to me. Like, why are they
It is.
sentient? Why are they
Yeah.
there? Where do they come from? Are they all just hanging out together until they get summoned? Like, is it a different plane of existence? I have 1,000 questions about the
Hang on.
animals in this, the
Hang on.
summons.
We'll
Sure,
get there.
sure.
But
No, we
something
don't
has
have to.
already been said. I feel like he's tough enough and like demands a little more than the pole monkey. Like he turned into a sword, didn't he? They called it a grass sword.
No, he didn't turn into the sword. Orochimaru pulled out the sword from his throat. Grass sword.
So when did he turn into a pole? I don't
When
remember
the
that.
third Hokage was like using that huge pole, that was Enma.
The grass sword?
No, he never wielded the third Hokage never wielded a sword.
He called it the grass sword though.
No, he said if he said no matter how strong my body is, talking about himself, which is the pole at that point, um, the grass sword will still hurt me. And he's talking about that sword that Orochimaru pulled out of his throat and is about to use. And he's saying if you go to deflect a shot, like with me, usually I can take those hits and it won't matter. If I get hit by that sword, it'll still hurt me.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
was confused on that then.
And then
Yeah, I
like
was too.
whenever
So yeah, he
in
is a
that
pole monkey.
whenever he's in that forest and that the like cage comes out of nowhere to save the third, and then he's talking to him, like the eye opens up on the pole. All of that, that's Enma. Like he's able to like do that. And a lot of this is one of my notes was like there's a ton of world building, like and the huge shield that's like protecting their fight right here. There's a ton of world building that you just get thrown at and it's like accept it. We're just moving the story along. And there's a lot of that right here where it's just like and they can do this.
Which I'm
We will
fine
explain
with.
it later.
I'm fine with, by the way, but I was going to ask you that. Do they explain it more later? Some of this
Specifically
stuff?
what?
See, that's what that's where I'm like, I mean, there's a lot. And again, Dragon Ball Z has probably conditioned me to this. Do we get an explanation for any of it? Some of it? None of it? Because again, it doesn't really bother me necessarily.
Some of
But
it is like the safest answer to say.
okay.
Because there is stuff that we don't get I don't somebody tell me if you're a Naruto
Wizard.
aficionado like that. Anyways, if you know, tell us. But I don't think we get like a huge explanation on what the shield itself is, like just to give you an example. We might, and I can't remember though. Like I think we're just kind of like expected to believe that it's just a jutsu
And
that
it's not
keeps
like
things out.
it's not that important to like move the story along for us
No.
to know necessarily.
That part, no. And there's things in this fight. How about this? Anything that is important to the story's progress will be brought up again later in a flashback or whatever to like remind you of exactly what you need to know. Naruto's not going to leave you hanging on stuff.
Yeah.
Unless it doesn't matter. So some of it is best.
Or unless it's in a tree.
Like what?
I don't know. Some of them hang in trees. They live them hanging.
Asher's having an effect on Zach.
I'm having a grand time is what I'm having. Can we talk about Konohamaru for a little bit? Because there was quite a bit.
Please save me.
I enjoyed Konohamaru's affect and demeanor through these episodes. He's just kind of like looking around, trying to figure out what's going on, sensing that something's wrong. I don't know. I again like that was one of those moments where no, I don't like Konohamaru, but I liked the world building of hey, there's like school going on right now. Like this
Yeah.
is some Red Dawn, Patrick Swayze, freaking the other guy, and World War III is happening. Like Russia is invading right now, kind of thing happening in the Leaf Village. So there's normal stuff going on that's gonna be messed up. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, again, don't like Konohamaru that much. I hope he has a redemption arc in the future, but I did like that there was some world building there.
Yeah. It's
The
interesting
rainbow thing
little.
is weird.
Oh, that
Go
was
ahead,
weird.
sorry.
Zach's. No, sorry. Your audio like came in late for me and all at once. So what'd you say?
I said that rainbow thing was weird though. Like
Mm,
when they did the flashback with the third Hokage, the unique rainbow kind of symbolizes snakes and kind of predicts evil.
yeah.
They didn't explain what the evil was the first time, and I hope they do maybe sometime soon. But I'm like, how am I supposed to believe that if you're not even going to show me what evil they're walking into from this hike that they randomly went on? Maybe that was the same flashback of the day that they went and found Orochimaru the first time.
Uh, maybe that's interesting. I've not thought about that. Go ahead, Asher, before I
No,
give my thoughts.
that's all I was gonna say was I was wondering if it was the same kind of thing. And on the note of Orochimaru, it makes a lot more sense to me as to why he's doing everything that he's doing. He just seems like kind of a I don't know, Sherlock Holmes level genius who is like, I want to know everything. I want everything and I want to know everything. This is my goal. And whatever I need to do to get there and reach immortality kind of.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely Orochimaru's goal. So that is a very interesting point, Zach. I have never considered that. That I don't know if same day it like is necessarily necessary for it to be true, but like that's a great tie to like what could why that rainbow would be there for the flashback. Um, because before that, I would have just answered with like, you know,
We'll see.
no, not with you. We'll see. Just more of like, just because a black cat crosses my path doesn't mean that I'll have bad luck. But
Oh, I
like that's
see.
what's said. So like, but honestly, that comment has borderline changed what I think about it. And
Hmm.
I think that it's probably because it was really close in time. Because Konohamaru at this point is probably around 7, if I had to guess. It's a guess. So like if he was a few years younger, the math, I don't know. Again, if you know a lot about Naruto, please tell us because I don't know if the math will line up on that, but I do like that theory a whole lot
Hmm.
on why that rainbow would be there.
The only reason I made that connection is because they were specific to say it was about snakes.
Yeah,
Who else yields snakes like Orochimaru does?
true. That's another great point. And I've never heard that about. I wonder if that's that has to be a Japanese thing, or if it's a Naruto world thing, because I've never heard that rainbows. Like here, I feel like we're taught like the Irish like leprechaun pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a unique rainbow. They said it was weird. Like
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't an arc in the sky. It was it was a circle around the sun. It was two circles. There was two rainbows around the sun, and they were
Oh,
Oh,
symbolizing
that's
those as
right.
snakes.
Yeah.
okay. Look at that. I then it has to be. I think what you said is right. I think they're definitely inferring that. That's a great point, Zach.
It does make me kind of I don't know if sad or mad or just frustrated is the right word, but that I can't Google that because I know I'll like stumble upon something that I didn't want to know, but I want to
Yeah.
know. I'm excited to get to like all the way to the end so I can go back and just read everything.
Yeah, okay, so and on that point, uh when we finish up, because we'll finish Naruto in the next couple months.
Yeah.
And we'll be on to Shippuden. And at that point in time, you will be free to like look things up as long as you don't see the word Shippuden anywhere. Once you see that, like you could probably avoid it. But like there's enough like differentiation.
Yeah,
Is that a
yeah.
word?
Yeah.
Between the two, like online of like OG Naruto and then like Naruto Shippuden, that like you should be able to go like search something and just avoid the links that have Shippuden in it. And get a lot of answers because there's so much like lore and like my friend Connor who has lent me this. I need to get it back to him. That we showed in a few episodes ago, but he was telling me about the grass sword actually, and another character sword that we'll get to that have like a lot of like lore, like Japanese lore behind why those exist and what they do. Um, and they're just more than just like a sword with a name. They're like imbued with magic to a certain extent. Obviously, it's like chakra in this world, but same thing. So that's interesting to like think about because it's just got a lot more thought put into it than like here's a name or whatever. So Hokage 1 and 2, we get that explanation. Um, was that a shock to you guys at all? Did you
1000%. And
yeah?
I'm honestly confused. Well, I mean, it was a shock to see them. I mean, it's a forbidden jutsu, so we obviously haven't seen anybody do something like this before. We're introduced to reanimation. Um, I'm super confused by reanimation though. I just put in my notes, explain it because I don't get it. Like, how are they able typically okay, here's my dilemma. Typically in like zombies or summoning the dead or bringing someone back to life, there's some kind of caveat. There is the caveat that they are not the same body, they're the same soul. Or no, maybe I'm mixing those up.
No, you got it. You got it.
But
Yeah, that makes sense. Same
if
body, not the same soul, right?
Mm-mm.
yeah.
No, no, different. It is the sorry. I don't know why said that so definitively, but it is same soul, different body. Like, go ahead and finish your question, but I'll answer what's happening.
So when they initially get reintroduced and the third Hokage is like disgusted that he's gonna have to fight his friends.
Yeah.
And they're just like almost like reminiscing and catching up and like, hey, long time no see. That was actually the dead versions of his friends talking to him in a disguised look-alike of the same body that they had in the life that they lived.
Yeah. So, yes, is the answer to your question. One of the Anbu Black Ops members says this in a very brief explanation as to what's going on, and then combined with what you'll find out a lot more in the future about like how these like forbidden jutsu work. But essentially, he says that unlike other like jutsu that are akin to this trying to like contact the dead, this requires a living sacrifice, like a person. So there is a person that Orochimaru has taken and put into that coffin, and then it did the reanimation jutsu, and then that's why you see like that rebuilding whenever they both took that shot from those fire bombs that were placed on them, the sticker fire bomb thing. You know what I'm talking about? whenever
Yeah.
both they had like limbs explode and then they were put back together. That reanimation is basically Orochimaru is doing a jutsu that like pulls their soul, which is them, like into this body so that they can have the same jutsu and chakra type and all this stuff, but it just like latches on top of this sacrifice of this
Puppet,
other
essentially.
random person. So there is a real person in there, but it is taken on the soul of the first Hokage, second Hokage. That other person's dead now on the inside because that body is just being used as a house basically for the
So
soul.
there is like a 1-to-1, like the sacrifice. That person had to die for them to
Yeah,
be reanimated. So is the caveat then that they don't truly have agency over their bodies because they've been summoned for some
they're
specific purpose?
forced. Yeah, so they're only there as long as Orochimaru is alive. If you kill
Okay.
the caster of the jutsu, it'll go away. Um, and then they don't have control over it. Because like I said, because Orochimaru like forced them there, so he's controlling them. And it's a weird like dichotomy between like it's not so like he does control them, but like they're still like the bodies are acting on their own. It's more like he's just like guiding them because he'll be like, no, go kill them. And then like they go do it. But the first and second
Hmm.
Hokage, who are conscious and in this body at this point, have no control of being like, no, they just have to sit there and watch in
See,
their own body.
that's the thing to me that makes me think, hopefully, they're strong enough as a soul or whatever that they'll be able to fight it somehow. But then again, Orochimaru has kind of proved himself to be strong enough to do that jutsu, which makes me think he probably does have full control, at least to the
Yeah.
extent that you're saying it's not like puppet master, but it is like, hey, go do this, and they go do it.
Yeah. And he tried to bring in the third. They don't say who, and I don't know what that symbol means on the coffin.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I assume it's the fourth
Fourth,
Hokage,
yeah.
and he was like, "There's no way that I'm letting him come back." But yeah, this like I would assume that Orochimaru is in a good spot to. He's very calculated. I mean, he had multiple chances to infiltrate the village like months prior to when this is happening and didn't because he like didn't have all the pieces yet. So he's a very calculated. I don't think that he would do that jutsu if he thought it was a possibility for the Hokage to turn on him or be able to.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Woo, it's a bad dude right there.
Yeah, he really is. He's creepy, dude. And like I don't know if you guys need uh any more explanation on like how he was changing his face and like what all that meant because they were going through that pretty quickly. But essentially, Orochimaru has achieved an ability to like pass his soul onto a new body. And then like that is Orochimaru, and he can like change his form as we saw. But essentially at this point, as long as Orochimaru has a good host body, he is immortal. So, and he said he's done it twice now. So, I mean, Orochimaru should not, he's the age of Jiraiya. But he obviously looks much younger.
I was going to ask you about that too. I was wondering how old he was.
Yeah, Jiraiya and Orochimaru on the same team. And then there's that girl that
Mhm.
we've seen in the picture, but we do not know who that is. Um,
What were you going to say, Zach?
Without
pretty crazy.
going without going down a super long rabbit trail about it, he definitely reminds me of like a Voldemort character in the
Yeah,
calculation and when they brought in immortality and like the steps it takes and the sacrifice, it just makes me think of like the Horcruxes and how there's like layers of getting rid of this guy. Um, I don't know, just
yeah,
a small thought, but
definitely same vibe of like character.
even summoning snakes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've never
Ooh, yeah,
put
that's
that
true.
together.
I never really connected that either, but these would have come out, I guess, around the same time as far as manga versus like Sorcerer's Stone, right?
Sorcerer's
Early
Stone was
thousands, late
99,
90s. Yeah.
I
and
mean,
then
things like that happen in culture all the time, though. Like where things that are similar come out. I mean, you have, Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached come out around the same time. Like,
what a callback. I've
What?
not thought about either of those movies since they were in theaters.
Oh, those are movies. Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah, they're
2011,
like,
bro. Friends be screwing, dude.
Dang.
that's what we be hearing.
Get this
Anyways,
camera off of me.
So, uh, third Hokage is in a tough spot right now.
Can I just say his outfit though when he drops the normal cloak, badassery. I love it.
100%.
I'm here for it.
100%.
Yeah.
Did you guys
I
have? Go ahead.
I wish so the Ambu Black Ops are like painted as these like top tier, they're gonna they're gonna help in any way they can type crew.
And they're sitting down commentating.
I'm like, there's a fire barrier, but maybe try to figure out a way to get it out. Like get rid of it. Like, what are we doing just watching and like, come on, third Okage, you got it. It's like, yeah, I could use your help, douche.
I mean,
Like,
I'm assuming if they got involved, they would be killed rather quickly by Orochimaru. That's the only thing I could think of.
that's your job though. You don't even have your
Yeah.
face. What are you worried about your life for? Like
Yeah.
you've hidden your face to protect the village. Ugh, I don't know.
They've turned into Shikamaru, and I understand why you don't like them because of that fact.
Mm, we're getting
Uh,
deep on that.
do you not like Shikamaru?
No,
Zach?
I do. I did make a joke in my notes though, just a callback to Asuma because he saved Shikamaru. I was like, he's Asuma.
That's awesome.
And then I was like, that's awesome.
I hate that.
That's like how Shikamaru would say it. That's awesome. Now I have to do
Uh,
more things because I'm still alive.
So, um, that's awesome. I hate that. I can't wait to use that. I'm gonna tell Lance that. So shoot, what was I about to bring up? It was
talking
oh,
about
okay. So the
Anbu Black
the
Ops.
Black Ops. So ultimately, I think it's just they're there for like story's sake to commentate on things and like tell us things. Because like they're doing some of the world building that we're getting explanation from is only possible because we heard it from them. Like, and they even had to tell us who the Hokages were. So I think that I see you rolling your eyes at me.
Well,
Zach.
God bless him. I guess I wouldn't
But
have known. So
yeah, and I think
Um,
that that's ultimately why they're there, and I think that that's just like a plot convenience as to why they're not like trying to do more. But I I also think that like a part of the culture of like this show, this world is like, and it could just be Japanese culture, I don't know. Is like if you're not in the league, then like getting in is just gonna get in my way. So like maybe that's part of the reason that they're like, I'm not gonna get in the fight between Orochimaru and Lord Hokage because I'm gonna get in Lord Hokage's way, which could hurt him. Or I could be used against him or something like that. Um,
so are they
I don't
not
know.
these like elite trained ninja that are more helpful than commentary?
No, they definitely are. I just think that it's a plot convenience right now of like, and I will say that like we don't get a lot of like Ombu Black Ops missions in at least in OG Naruto of like seeing their power level. So we're like told and led to believe that like they're this like upper echelon of ninja, and they definitely are. But I just think that in this moment they're just being used as a pawn piece more than like
Well, what you said makes sense. Like if they're going to be used against the third Hokage and they know that, then they probably don't want to get involved. Or
yeah,
if,
and it could just be they can't get in the barrier.
oh yeah, I didn't even think
Like
about
they
that.
truly just can't get through.
Can't
Like I
crack
don't
the
know.
egg.
Yeah.
I hope the writers hear this and they hear what I have to say next.
Hot take incoming.
In your ability to keep them out of the Lord Hokage's way, you have put them in my way of appreciating who they are. Because I'm not trying to be negative. They're just like so pointless.
I think that that's their point though. Like at this point in time, like they would just be a distraction from the main story. So I think they're only used as a tool at this point in time. They are used as a tool to tell us what we need to know that we're not going to learn from Orochimaru and the other Hokage. And that's about it. And I agree. They're useless. They're stupid. They should be doing more. They shouldn't have been in this position anyways if they were like, and Kakashi even said, he was like, there's only 8 of them here. Like, that's not nearly enough to do anything.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
And technically
I
there
do
were
think
only
they're pretty
7
useless at this
because
point. What is that?
I said technically there were only 7 because Kabuto was
Mm,
Oh, true.
phased.
True. Forgot about that.
it's another bad
And there's only
dude.
like 3 of them up there. Where are the other ones? I guess they were taken out or
Or
doing
taking a
something else.
poop.
Whoa. Could be. So we're kind of coming to the end of it now. So I purposely left this batch at a kind of there wasn't a real great place to break this, and I didn't want to do it all at once. So this is kind of a build up, a penultimate between um Orochimaru and the third Hokage. I'm blanking right now. And then we're like right before the um Sasuke, Gaara, Naruto, all them. That's that other part of the story that's happening. So we're going from 73 to 80. And the reason this is kind of a big deal is that that's a season break between 3 and 4. So the arc doesn't end until 80, but there is a season break between. So if you're watching on Netflix or Hulu or even Crunchyroll, wherever, it's going to cover, but 80 is the right one. And if that, I know that Naruto on Netflix is weird. So that's going to carry until the third Hokage, comma, forever. That's the very last episode of the batch, and that's the end of the arc. So that's our next batch, which will bring all of this Konoha Crush arc to an end, and then we'll move on to the next arc, which I'm not going to tell. So we'll get there.
Don't say
But I
it.
did want to bring that up. What?
I
What were
just
you going
said,
to say, Ash?
don't say the name of that next arc.
I
I
won't.
did actually see the name of the arc, I guess right before this, or maybe leading into this one or something.
I'd change. You probably saw Destruction at Hidden Leaf, didn't
That's
you?
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I changed it because the actual arc name is Konoha Crush. So I just started changing the arc names to what they. I stopped naming them myself. I just went with the arc names.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
Um, but yeah, I'm super. I say this every week, but I am excited for this next batch. I always like whenever we get to the end of the season because it means we get to talk about like the season as a whole, like characters that stood out, and now at the end of season 3, like we're moving through this. We are beyond the halfway point.
Yeah.
By a good bit at this point. And it really ramps up in pacing, like all that like slowness of season 2, all that slowness of season 2 is gone. Like 3 really, is kind of a little slow at the beginning because we have those fights between everybody at the final rounds of
You
the
know,
training
you
exams.
call them fights. I would say like exposition with an occasional like punch thrown or something. But
That's a good point.
I'm
It
here
is
for it.
mainly
I'm
a
here for it.
conversation. Um, but yeah, it gets pretty intense going from 4 and then into 5 for sure. And then we'll be done. I know that there are 9 seasons in total, but 6
They're going on
through
a camping
9.
trip.
Yeah, or are they going to the circus?
What are you talking about?
You said it was intense.
Yeah, intense.
So I don't even know what to say next. I am nauseated and I need to take some Dramamine. Asher's bent over. The camera's on me, but it's because they're not making sounds, but they're laughing at me.
With you
Yeah,
on our
whichever.
camping trip to the circus.
That's right. I didn't even had you not said intense, I don't know if I would have ever found what you were talking
Can
about.
I tell you something that I find hysterical? I thought it immediately because these word associations, they're always just popping into my head. And I'm really fighting to not just like interrupt the flow of the conversation. So I wasn't going to say anything. And then Zach did it. I was so happy. Thank you.
Hope you're proud of yourself. Or I'm hope you're proud of yourself. Hello? What is happening to me? Well, I do
Well,
hope you're proud of yourself.
I will say this. I cheated this week, and the Reaper that we saw at the end of 72
Reaper Death Seal.
was too much for me to just not understand what's next. And I watched through 74.
What kind of rule break? What? Why would you do that?
Whoa, bro.
That's a
Whoa.
hard break. That's a hard break to ask me to stop.
That's the reason. I wanted you
What
to
do you
be.
mean?
I watched the end. So like when I'm deciding the batch number, like I watched to find out what's happening, and I purposely was like, I want them to not know what they just saw, so that we can talk about what they think it is.
Oh no, it's our first big fight.
I don't like that you did that, but that's okay.
I think
Here's
that
the deal. I haven't even seen any of the Mandalorian because I hate cliffhangers that much. I don't want to wait seasons. So
Of what
that's on
Oh,
me.
Mandalorian.
That's on me because I cannot stand it. It's like if there's a show that everyone's talking about, I'm like, I'll just wait till it's all out and I could just see it in one sweep.
See, I
And
am
this
the
was the
literal
first
opposite.
time. Well, we're just different people. We found that out tonight.
We did.
Um,
I'm gonna have to start being mediator for you two.
no, there's no
There's no actual bad blood.
there's no beef because I'm a vegetarian. There's a
Dang,
303
boy.
reference.
You know what I think Reaper Death Seal is?
Mm,
I didn't
Reaper
even
Death
like that
Seal,
one.
hardly knew her.
Hardly Reaper.
Exactly. We can
Well,
talk about what I thought it was because I still have those memories.
Yeah, I'd like
Because
to
I
know.
debated it for a while to be like, do I do it or do I don't? And I ultimately decided to do it because I was so curious what this thing is.
Just so you know, I didn't make any notes for it because I have no idea. And I just stopped watching, stopped making notes. So I did literally the opposite. I didn't think about it or think about what it could be, nor did I continue watching.
okay.
I did want to.
Well, then I think if we didn't have, unless you, Zach, want to tell us what you thought it was.
I want to know what you thought it was.
Okay. Go ahead, Zach.
I thought it was very reminiscent to the giant monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I thought it was just going to like rip the world apart.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if it Just a raw thought. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the summoning of the first and second Hokage. But that's as far as I've thought about it.
You didn't even think about it at all.
No, not really.
Wow. It's all I could think about for like a whole night. I lost sleep over it.
I got stuck on the Leaf is more than an organization to the third Hokage, it's family. And I was like, all right, I'm satisfied with the end of this series of episodes. Reaper Death Seal, hardly know her, don't care.
I think we need to make an Instagram reel, and whenever the third Hokage says family, we put in Vin Diesel.
Oh my God. Yes. Do we,
That would be great.
as the three of us, have the technology to superimpose Vin Diesel's face on the third Hokage?
I could do it in like a felt board drawing.
I like that. Do you have kid pics or paint, anything along those lines? From the 90s?
I haven't thought about kid pics in forever.
Yes.
Blowing it up, starting a canvas new with some dynamite.
Wild.
That was a wild time. Well, I think that brings us to the end. Unless you guys have other notes you want to bring up, I'd gone through everything I'd written down.
I feel good. We hit all the high notes. I honestly can't remember what it was that really bothered me about this series of episodes, because if I put it in my notes, I didn't make it really clear. I mean, Konohamaru always bothers me a little bit, but nothing that was taking away from the overall experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is protect Sasuke at all costs, because he's being thirsted after.
Yeah, it's creepy how like in 72, and this is where the dub changes some things because they realize how like creepy this is in our culture. But the like more direct translation that you see in the sub is like Sasuke is such a beautiful, strong boy. And like that's just such a creepy statement to say about a 12-year-old.
Oh, I did
Yeah.
make that note. So he wants to assume Sasuke's body. Like that's his
Oh yeah,
goal
big
there.
time. That's
That's
yes.
his goal.
His goal is 100% to use him as, and Sasuke's young, and he even said he wanted to train him up a little bit more, but like Sasuke's young, so the body's young, so like he'd be able to like use it longer. Yeah.
There was a quote in the dub that still was pretty creepy. He says, "And when he's ripe, I will something." But the word ripe when talking about a little boy.
Yeah, dude. It's
don't-
so creepy.
I'm not down for ripe when we're talking about human beings.
Yeah. No, not at all. I remember watching this for the first time and Connor calling calling Orochimaru Michael Jackson. He said he's Michael Jackson of Naruto.
Michael Jackson was innocent though.
All right. So
There's
next
the
week.
clickbait for this episode.
I was talking about this with someone recently about how like you die and you're instantly like a saint. Like you may be an awful person, but you die an untimely death as a celebrity, instant saint. And then after some time, then it's like, no, they weren't. And then they cancel them in death.
The documentaries
I'm
come
not-
out.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, like in the sense that I'm going to die on this hill, because at the end of the day, I have no clue. But Macaulay Culkin is obviously one of the biggest. I don't even know why we're talking about this anymore, but he's
You
come out and
brought it
said,
up.
Yeah,
well,
you
I
brought
know
it
I
up.
did, but I don't know why I'm justifying it.
Oh, right.
I feel like I have to clarify to the viewers at this point. But I've just seen some things and I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure that he was guilty because Macaulay Culkin was on several interviews way after he died, like recently. It was like who am I trying to protect? Like, who am I trying to save or like hide from? Like, he never did anything. It was never weird. He never had a childhood, and he just wanted friends that were younger because that's where his head was. And then the kids that accused him, um, whenever they were of legal age, they came out and said that their families made them say that so that they could get money. And then both of their dads committed suicide.
Oh my
So
god.
I'm like, I can't say for sure that he was or wasn't touching little kids, but the evidence kind of feels like it wasn't.
Like, to the contrary. That's the Reaper death seal of it all. If I had to.
Yeah, that is the Reaper death seal of it all. I'd agree with that statement pretty heavily. Well, either
But a
way,
caveat here, just to clear my name, I'm an idiot, so don't listen to me.
either way, Orochimaru is Michael Jackson in Naruto's world.
A little pale
Still just
too.
that voice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pale, the high pitched voice. In the sub, it's very like it's still very like I don't know, like rough. Like the voice still sounds rough, but it's a very like silky, like high pitched voice, I think, in the dub, which for me portrays two different characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not maybe characters still strong, but you know what I mean. Like two different, like at least to a certain
Personas.
extent, yeah, persona. Okay, through or 73 through 80, we get a change in the opener, change in the closer. We get a lot of culmination of stories that have been building for a while now. We've been in the tuning exams literally since the end of season 1. So to be done with it and moving forward with a new arc will be refreshing for sure. But tuning exam arc is great all the way through. All right. You guys have anything else you want to go over?
I feel good.
Cool. Episode 11's done then. 73 through 80. See you then.
And not an episode more.
And believe it.